Hello, welcome and greetings to our series of weekly devotionals. This week we're taking a look at a passage in the book of Genesis featuring a familiar encounter between Adam and Eve and God in the Garden of Eden. A few years ago, I did some chaplaincy training at St. Luke's Hospital. And of course, in the course of the year of training, we learn a lot of techniques for interacting with patients and for dealing with the various situations that we might encounter. But we also spend, I think, as much time, if not more, learning about ourselves, becoming or striving to become more self-aware, working to build self-awareness. I learned that I'm a peacemaking personality, that I like to keep the peace and make everyone happy. And we learn a little bit about our family history. The idea is the more self-aware you are, of course, that can help understand why you respond to people the way you do, and might lead you to understand a little bit of how you interact with others. And of course, hopefully that leads to a better way to interact with others. Learning more about yourself, becoming more self-aware. And I mention this because of the verses that I'm going to share in our passage today, verses 9 and 10. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" He said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself." The word, the Hebrew word that is used for naked, is also equated to being very clever or being crafty. And so scholars suggest that Adam's realization of his nakedness then leads him to clothe himself, and they equate that with sort of a self-awareness of arrogance and conceit, which leads then to a sense of humility. And I think that's important in our quest for spiritual maturity. Of course, we all have gifts to share. We all have spiritual gifts to share, and it's good to know those gifts and to celebrate those gifts. But on the flip side of that, it's also good to understand our limitations, to be self-aware, and to sort of realize where our growing edges are, what are some things that we need to be aware of. So to understand our gifts and our limitations, I think is part of what makes us more mature in our faith. There's a wonderful quote by Thomas Merton, who says that humility is being exactly who we are in the presence of God. And I think that's a wonderful definition of humility. And it's also a pretty good description of spiritual maturity as well. Amen.